Hey, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome, Elizabeth Cook.
Thank you. It's cool to be here.
Here on eTown. Taking a while. But you're an old hand at this whole radio business.
Yeah, but you know, a lot of my songs I can't do on the Opry. It's so weird because I can't sing about. They don't want to hear about heroin and sex and drugs and stuff that I tend to write about.
It takes out a lot of material.
It does for me, so it's so weird. But I did go anyway, and I just do something else, you know.
Yeah. It's pretty cool to hear your story too, because it just sounds sort of like something that would be hard to make up. You know, the hillbilly.
I wouldn't have thought of it, I don't think.
Yeah. And so the story about your dad being a moonshiner, I'm just trying to understand in a modern context, you think about that as being, oh yeah, well that was like 100 years ago in Kentucky, there was people making moonshine.
Yeah, no, it was more, I think a lot of people have a vision of like the overalls and the donkey and being in the mountains. But my daddy had a fast car called the White Ghost with all these tricks on it. And he was in Jacksonville, Florida and South Georgia down where like NASCAR country. And they had these tricked out cars and they would run from the law and move the stills around on wheels. And it was a big, fancy operation, criminal operation. No donkeys involved.
No overall. Did you get to see it? Did you get to see the stills in operation when you were a kid?
No. That was before
you.
I wasn't born until he was out of jail.
Out of jail, okay.
Yep.
So you were never like visiting him in prison. But you did see pictures, right? I've seen, seems like there's pictures of him and his band.
There's one I just came across the other day on my Instagram, and it's this black and white photo of the prison band, and they look so innocent. You know, they've all got this white outfits and little ties and their instruments.
What was the name of the band?
The Melody Boys.
The Melody Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, they looked good, I bet.
They were sharp.
And then, and I want to ask you about that little moment in time where somehow from that scene you found your way to college, which was probably not typical for your brothers and sisters, your 10 brothers and sisters, or half brothers and sisters.
Right. No, I wasn't the first. I think I was the second one. But I made good grades. My parents didn't pay a ton of attention to that. I could have brought home any. They were like, "Good, honey," you know.
Yeah.
But I did well in school, and the lunchroom ladies at my high school gave me a little scholarship for $500, and that sort of catapulted me to the local community college.
Wow.
And then
Did
I
you know
found
they
a
were doing
party
this?
at another college, and so I went and did that.
Did you know they were doing that, saving up money to help you go to college?
I had no idea. It blindsided me.
The lunchroom ladies.
Who knew?
Right. You don't think of them as being particularly engaged in any one individual kid's story.
You don't know what all they got going on back there.
Whole new chapter in your life opens up thanks to the lunchroom ladies.
It did.
So you go to college, you graduate, you've got a degree in accounting and computer science systems or whatever. And then you decide to sing and write songs and make a record.
Yeah, I went to work for Price Waterhouse, which I think now is Price Waterhouse Coopers, or they've merged or even went away. I have no idea. But I lasted about 18 months at that job before I got a publishing deal offer in Nashville for songwriting, and the accounting job really sucked, you know. It just wasn't a lot of fun, and I
You can't say that on the opera either, probably, can you?
No. And it wasn't that I minded I didn't mind the work, but I think any job is who you do it with.
Yeah.
And it was just culturally a little hard for me to fit in there.
Yeah. And am I right that being on the David Letterman show made a big difference for you, right? First time you went on there?
Yeah, I went on the David Letterman show, the Late Show, I guess, and right after that, I got a lot of Hollywood deals and stuff. And that's why it took me so long to put out another record, because that was very distracting. I had a sitcom deal with CBS for a hot minute, many like reality TV show offers. All I wanted to do was like have a fishing show and interview people. Thought that would be great, but I couldn't get anybody to sponsor that. And
I would watch that.
Thanks. I mean, I thought it was as good as any other idea anybody else was. If they wanted to do a TV show, I thought it was as good as anything else.
And so you're distracted by all this stuff. Did any of it happen? Any of that whole Hollywood stuff? Did some of it happen?
I mean, not really. I ended up making a little indie film with Todd Snyder called East Nashville Tonight. And this is where Todd basically, as my friend, is observing all this chaos and upheaval, all this stuff is causing it. It's so out of nowhere, and it's such a distraction from the music thing I was doing before. So he decides he's going to produce a talk show on me, which is a disaster. So the East Nashville Tonight is a movie that documents Todd Snyder trying to make a talk show on me. It's pretty good. Look it up. It's good.
It's pretty good. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah.
So now you've taken a breather. I know we did a song earlier called Methadone Blues. Was that inspired by your being in rehab, or that just another story that came to you?
No, that was inspired by the character in the second song that I did, which was Heroin Addict Sister, which is actually one of my real life sisters, and she's awesome and amazing and been in recovery for about 6 years now. And yeah, she's doing great. She's a mess, but she's still like really, relatively is awesome. So, but she inspired then Methadone Blues, because then there was a chapter when she did the methadone treatment program and stayed with the family in South Georgia, and that was.
But didn't you also go into rehab for a period of time?
I did. I went in right when I went through my divorce, and what else was going on? I went and I lasted like 10 or 11 days. They thought I might have an eating disorder, thought I might be addicted to something. I had a lot of pressure to go. I got there, and none of that turned out to be accurate, but I had a whole list of other problems that were better treated somewhere else. So it's a dragon's tail. You're always chasing it, with medication and therapy and all this stuff. But had like 5 people die in my family, and got a divorce, and the farm burned down, and all that happened in a short period of time. So it just kind of messed me up.
Was that interesting, just being in that circumstance, kind of stuck in this place with other people who are trying to get clean, and the treatment, whatever it is? Was that an interesting experience?
It was interesting for sure. I mean, there was just a gamut of ages and issues there, because they also treated eating disorders, and they sold it on the website to my management like it was a spa type situation. Like there was a fountain and a koi pond, which I never saw the koi pond one time. I think that didn't exist, or I wasn't allowed to go to it for whatever reason. And, they would sit at the table and watch me eat, and you weren't allowed to have caffeine, and you could have 2 packets of sugar a day. Everything was regulated, and I'm just a little more used to being in charge of I run a show, small-time show business entertainment company. I'm in charge, and so I'm like, I can have sugar if I want it. And so I didn't get along well with the staff, and I'd get in trouble for wearing my sunglasses indoors like an asshole, and
That could make another interesting sitcom too, I think.
I thought that was a good sitcom idea too, because
Yeah.
a lot of really characters were amazing there. There were some people that were just on vacation, and some people really like suffering and trying to clean up, and then some young girls with like really bad eating disorders that had really parents that they need to get rid of, and So it was fascinating for sure.
Wow. Well, I know we've got a lot more music to get to. I want to just quickly mention you've had your own radio show.
Yes.
On Sirius XM, right?
It's on Sirius XM, satellite radio. I have a radio show in Outlaw Country called Apron Strings.
Mm-hmm. And is that fun for you to like pick music and talk about it and be a DJ on the radio?
Oh, it's so easy. It's great. Yeah, I love it.
You can do it from wherever you are, right?
I do it as long as I have internet. I did it at the Boulderado this morning.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. How often does the show happen?
5 days a week, Monday
5 days a
through
week.
Friday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's cool. So you have a whole separate fan base who just know you being on the radio.
Right.
And they show up at your shows.
They do.
Yeah.
They would not. They don't know if I'm going to juggle or what.
Yeah.
But.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye out for that. The radio, juggling on the radio. Could be amazing. But it sounds like there's all kinds of good stuff. But mostly you've got this incredible new record. And I just want to say briefly, you made us with Dexter Green.
Yes.
Really talented musician, producer, and coincidentally, your boyfriend.
Yes.
So,
I tried not to do that, but it's just really hard.
But the net result is a really good record.
It is, and I would do that way all again. If he wasn't so good, I could have kept him, in another department. But he's really talented, and it was just foolish to do it with anybody else just because I was going to have Pop-Tarts with him in the morning.
Yeah. It's funny because it's a bit of a departure for you. Almost in a way that, like, Emmylou's record, Wrecking Ball, was kind of a departure for her.
Right.
Sonically, this is a very different record for you.
It is. Well, because of the deaths and the fire and the divorces and the rehab and all that stuff, things are just a lot heavier. So, the lyrics were heavier, and then he brought a sensibility of his tones, and they're just naturally darker. And so, it kind of went to a different place. It's really like kind of a dense narrative, but it's a little darker.
Well, it still sounds like you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks.
no, it's a good record. Listen, we've got more songs from that record, and we're going to get to it now. Welcome back to eTown, very talented Elizabeth Cook. Hi, this is Nick Forster from eTown. If you want to stay up to date with all the performances, interviews, and behind-the-scenes footage, click the subscribe button. Thanks.